Greetings, church family. This is Brent coming to you from my home. It's been 4 days since our president has recommended that we not meet in groups of larger than 10, and we're honoring that. Teresa and I and our daughter Bethany are trying to just stay home. It's kind of the safest thing we can do for ourselves and do for other people, just in showing love and care for other people. I wanted to address a couple things today. One of those is as we're kind of stuck at home, you have two choices. You can sit and kind of veg out on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever and just kind of bide away the time. Or else you can look at this and say, maybe this is time that God has given me to do something. I was thinking about this. I was thinking about what different people have done when they've been in kind of lockdown mode, when they've been in captivity. I was thinking about the Apostle Paul and how he wrote some of his most eloquent letters when he was in prison. He did some of his most amazing work in prison. And then Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wrote his letters from a Birmingham jail while he was in prison. And during World War II, when most of England was locked down, is when C.S. Lewis began his radio broadcast that became kind of the base for his book Mere Christianity. And so I guess I believe that God has us here for a purpose, and not just to kind of see how many shows we can binge, although that's not a wrong thing to do, but also just begin asking him, God, what do you have for me while we're in this time? Also, most of you probably have gotten notice by now that we're doing our services completely online this Sunday. So you can catch us on Facebook at Vineyard Community Church of Wycliffe, our Facebook page, and it should just show up live on there. Or if you can't watch that Sunday morning at 10, you can watch it anytime afterwards, or check our website out. We have it on our website also. We'll have a video for that. The other thing I wanted to do was just to encourage you. This is, some of the stuff we read is really scary. I was reading last night some of the deaths and some of the really hard things that are happening in people's families, people that have lost more than one family member to this. We were at the hospital actually yesterday. My daughter had to have surgery on her hand, and we were actually the last people there. They were just going to do this last surgery, and then they were going to pack everything up and send it off to the big hospitals because they had ventilators and things like that. And there's just they anticipate such a great need for all these things. They're just trying to get ready for that. So it can be kind of scary. And while I was thinking about that, I was thinking about Psalm 91, the psalm with pestilence in it. And pestilence, if you don't know what that is, was kind of their word for what we're going through, for a plague, for something that would come through and just wipe out lots of people. And they lived in those days. They lived with various plagues and pestilences that would come through. And Psalm 91 says this: whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. I will say to the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust. Surely He will save you from the fowler's snare and from the deadly pestilence. He will cover you with His feathers, and under His wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart. You will not fear the terror of the day, nor the arrow that flies by night, nor the pestilence that stalks in the darkness, nor the plague that destroys at midday. 1,000 may fall at your side, and 10,000 at your right hand, but it will not come near you. You will only observe with your eyes and see the punishment of the wicked. And as we read that, it's kind of easy to say, well, does that mean that nothing bad will ever happen to me? And I don't think that's what it's saying. I think it's saying that God is in charge, that God is in control. And there are parts of this that we can do something about, like washing our hands, staying isolated, do those kind of things. But there's part of this that's out of our hands. And for me, it's helpful to know that it's in somebody's hands, that this whole thing is in God's hands, and that He's not going to let anything happen to any one of His children except that it is part of His purpose and greater plans, and that He's still working all things out together for good for those who love Him. We're called according to His purpose, and that means you, all of you, that God has good for your lives. He has good purposes for your lives. And so I want to encourage you, when you're living in fear, to not just kind of go into that bubble of fear, but to turn to Him, to pour out your heart to Him, to pour out your cries to Him. As I was doing this video, I was realizing right in the background is a picture that Teresa and I got from a library several years ago of the Garden of Gethsemane, when Jesus was praying, "Lord, if possible, take this cup from me. But not my will, but yours be done." And that's what we say during this time, is not my will, but yours be done. The last thing I want to encourage you to do is stay connected. I know it's hard to, because we're pretty isolated. But we're working right now. Scott and Jackie, our two small group pastors and leaders in the church, are working on ways to stay connected through small groups. I actually have a Zoom account, so I'm going to be doing a couple Bible studies during the week. And if you're interested in that, you can send me your email at brentpauls@gmail.com, brentpauls@gmail.com, and I would be happy to send you a link to how to connect to that. And it's an interactive online Bible study that we can do. And it's a great way to stay connected. There's something really cool about connecting with other people, even if it is online. It's what God has given us for today. So again, don't look at this as just one of the most horrible things that any of us have ever faced, but look at it as an opportunity to find out what God's doing, what He wants to do in our lives, what He wants to do in our country. Pray for those around you. Serve if you can. We still are doing our food pantries on Tuesdays. And if you can do that, if you're not in a high-risk group, I would encourage you to go out and help provide food to people. Call up some of your family members and relatives and other members of your church community and just find out how they're doing. And try bringing comfort to somebody else. Otherwise, I would say, God's blessing. I love you. Teresa loves you. Our whole church staff loves you. And we're really concerned about you. And ultimately, like I said on Sunday, this is going to be okay. God has got everything in His hands. He's in charge. So God bless. And until we meet again, I'm going to try and do these on a more regular basis. So till we meet again, peace out.